You know that feeling, right? You walk in the door and there go your favorite shoes, just shredded. Or maybe the neighbor gives you that look again, talking about the nonstop howling. It's just this deep, sinking feeling. The frustration of dealing with the dog's separation anxiety, man, it's real and it can feel completely overwhelming. But okay, let's dive into this, because I promise there is a path to calm for both of you.
Wow. I mean, this right here, it's a total gut punch. But you know what? It's an honest one. And if you have ever felt anything even close to this, please hear me on this. You are so not alone. This isn't about you having a bad dog. No way. This is about a daily grind of stress that just wears you down, right? It can make you feel completely trapped in your own home.
All right, so let's get into what this actually looks like. What's going on from your dog's side of the door? The second you leave, their whole world can just flip into a state of pure panic. And they show it, in some very specific and often destructive ways.
So, take a look at this list. Does any of it sound familiar? The chewed-up door frames, the barking that you're sure the whole neighborhood can hear, the accidents on the floor. Look, I know it feels personal sometimes, but these aren't acts of revenge because you left. This is what a genuine panic attack looks like for a dog. They're basically calls for help, just screamed out in the only language they've got. And hey, if you're sitting there just nodding along to all of this, you need to know you are in very good company. We're talking about a huge number of people. Some studies estimate that a staggering 40% of our dogs deal with these kinds of issues. Just think about that. This is not some rare, bizarre flaw. It's a really widespread challenge, and it's rooted deep, deep down in their biology.
Okay, so to really truly solve this, we've got to reframe the whole problem. We have to stop thinking of it as just bad behavior and start seeing it for what it is, an emotional issue. So let's get into the science, because this paints a totally different picture. And the key? Well, it's all about that powerful bond you and your dog share.
All right, here's the official term, separation anxiety syndrome, or SAS. And this is important. It's a recognized medical condition. This is not a personal training failure on your part. Let me say that again, it's not your fault. The key word to focus on here is hyperattachment. Your dog isn't just being dramatic. Their brain is literally wired to feel unsafe when you're not there. Their whole system just goes into complete crisis mode.
And this chart, it just shows that bond in action perfectly. Just look at this data. When dogs get to choose, they overwhelmingly stick right by their owner's side. I mean, it's not even a competition. This isn't some fuzzy, vague feeling of love we're talking about. It is a measurable, predictable, biological drive. You are their safe space. You're their anchor in what can be a really confusing world for them.
Okay, now this is where things get really, really interesting. The latest science gives us an even deeper way to look at all this. We can actually go beyond the simple label of anxiety and start to understand the way your dog perceives the world when you're gone. And trust me, this is a total game changer.
So let me just throw a question out there, one that is fundamentally changing how the pros are treating this. What if it's not just anxiety? What if it's actually pessimism?
This whole idea is built on a really cool concept called cognitive bias. The easiest way to think about it is like the glass half empty or half full test, but for animals. It's a scientific way to actually measure their underlying emotional state. And what they found is that a dog who's feeling anxious or depressed will pretty much always expect the worst in any kind of uncertain situation.
So a groundbreaking study actually put this to the test. And what they found was, well, it's amazing. Dogs with separation issues acted just like pessimists. When they were faced with an ambiguous cue, they were slow, hesitant, like they were expecting something bad to happen. And this is the incredible part, after treatment, those same dogs became optimists. They started approaching that same ambiguous signal with speed and confidence, just like dogs who didn't have anxiety issues to begin with.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's this. The right treatment does so much more than just stop the barking or the chewing. It's actually changing your dog's entire outlook on life, from negative to positive. We're not just putting a Band-Aid on a problem, we are actively helping to heal their mind.
Okay, so how do we actually do that, right? How do we build up that optimism and resilience in our dogs? Well, all the evidence points to a really clear, structured, two-pronged approach that tackles both the stuff we see on the outside and what's going on emotionally on the inside.
Okay, so prong number 1 is behavior modification. This is the hands-on training part, where we actively teach our dogs that, hey, being alone is actually safe, and it's not something to panic about. And then prong number 2, when it's needed, is medication. And I want you to think about it like this. The meds can help take that panic level from a boiling 10 down to a more manageable 5. It just creates that little bit of mental space so the training can actually sink in and work.
So what does this kind of training actually look like in real life? Well, it means doing things like teaching your dog that you picking up your keys doesn't automatically mean the world is ending. It's about strategically rewarding them for those little moments when they're being calm and independent. And it's also about doing super short, false departures. I'm talking just seconds at first to slowly build up their confidence that yes, you always come back.
And you know what? Owners who stick with this stuff see incredible results. I absolutely love how this person on Reddit puts it. They said this protocol was foundational for them. And they make such a great point. This is not some old school sit-stay obedience exercise. This is real behavioral science that's meant to change your dog's core emotional response to being by themselves. All right, for the last piece of this puzzle, we have to turn the camera around and talk about maybe the most important part of this whole equation, and that's you. Your dog's journey to a calmer life is deeply, and I mean scientifically, connected to your own mindset and your own actions. You kind of have to think of this as your own pet behavior odyssey. Seriously, there are going to be amazing days, and then there are going to be days with frustrating setbacks. It takes patience, it takes consistency, and it takes a whole lot of empathy for this little creature who really is trying their absolute best. Honestly, your understanding of what they're going through, that's the most powerful tool in your entire toolkit. And look, if that just sounds like a nice fluffy sentiment, check this out. There is hard science to back it up. Researchers have actually measured the stress hormone cortisol in both dogs and their owners, and they found that their levels can actually sync up. It's a real thing called physiological synchrony. What that means is, when you're stressed and anxious about leaving, your dog picks up on that. They absorb it. So you're calm. It is literally contagious for them.
So, let's just end with this final thought, a little shift in perspective. What if we reframe the goal here? What if instead of chasing this idea of a perfectly behaved dog that never makes a single peep, we aim for something else? What if we aim for a happier, more resilient dog? One that just feels safe in the world, even when they're on their own. Because at the end of the day, that's not just a better life for them, it's a more peaceful and a more liberated life for you too.